Good morning, ladies and gentlefolk. It is Thursday, the 2nd of December. It is Manchester United against Arsenal tonight. It's not quite Rangnick ball, but it's Rangnick Carrick, Rarick ball. I don't know what it is, but it's some sort of hybrid that's going to happen tonight. Rangnick, as far as we know, is going to be in Old Trafford, in the director's box. That's what the latest reports are all saying. I'm going to run through everything this morning, all the latest small updates. I'll be honest on Rangnick with his work visa process and what's going on. What Carrick said about Rangnick, about whether the fact that they've been speaking to each other ahead of kickoff. All the latest team news from Carrick ahead of the game about Pogba, about Varane, about Cavani. Then we're going to run through what else we got on the tech. We got to speak about the game tonight against Arsenal because it's quite a big game in the context of the table. We're going to be speaking about the new fan advisory board that's been launched by Manchester United yesterday as the sort of trying to bridge the gap between us and the Glazers. I'm not sure it's going to do much, but we're going to speak about it. The Glazers are out there buying T20 teams out in UAE. I'm going to be speaking about all of that this morning. And as you will always do, you will fire in your comments, your questions, and your opinions to me ahead of kickoff. So, not ahead of kickoff, just send them in. But how are you all doing? It's 23 days to Christmas, as the little Grinchy's hand is letting you know. I'm really happy with this little Ralphie Angel. Ralph Angel. We still haven't got a name for him. No one sent me because no one sent me a tweet yesterday. How bloody dare you? But yeah, let's be honest. We're all pretty frustrated. It's such an odd situation to be in, isn't it? We've got a new manager who can't manage us. I swear this is one of the most Manchester United things ever. We all know that if we had got Rangnick in the door earlier during the international break, this would not have been an issue. Or maybe it would have been still, but we would have had more time to sort it out rather than it being chaotic. We've got a game coming up. I'm going to head down to the comments and see where you're watching from this morning. We've got Mallory watching from Manchester. Good morning to you on Facebook. Mick watching from Yorkshire. Good morning to you, Mick. We've got Christoph watching from Denmark. Abby from India. Baba from Tokyo and Japan. Honestly, it makes me smile every single time that I go down to the comments and I see how far around the world everyone's watching. It's cool. United fans all around the world. Who else you got? Graham from Adelaide. You got Chester in Malawi. Wow. Lots everywhere. But look, yeah, we're all frustrated because Rangnick should be in charge tonight. It shouldn't even be a question. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been sacked. We've got a new manager in. End the conversation. But no, because of this work visa issue. And I explained it to you yesterday. I'll explain it quickly again. The whole problem here around Rangnick and why this delay exists is because in the last 5 years, he hasn't managed enough at an elite level. Because remember, he stepped into sporting director and sort of more director roles at Red Bull and with Lokomotiv Moscow. That means that in the last 5 years, he hasn't managed as a coach enough in one of Europe's top 5 leagues to get some sort of automatic work permit from the Home Office in the UK post-Brexit. Anybody coming in needs this work permit. And because he hasn't managed enough in the last 5 years, he doesn't get it automatically. It's got to go to this advisory board. We spoke about it yesterday. It's one legal representative and 2 members from the footballing community that we don't know who they are, where they're from. But as it stands, there is no news on whether he's going to get it or not in time for Crystal Palace. And yeah, the update there is that what's happening? What is going on? I'm sure it's going on behind the scenes, and I don't know. Maybe call me ignorant in saying that, but I'm pretty confident that it'll be done in time for him to be in charge of Manchester United against Crystal Palace. If it's not, it's an absolute joke. But Rangnick is in Manchester, man. This is the photo from yesterday. I'm sure you've seen this buzzing around on Twitter. This is there's a lad who was on a stadium tour, taking a couple of snaps of John Murtough there, and of course Ralphie Rangnick in his brown loafers. Look at that, loves it. As long as he did the Old Trafford stadium tour and didn't look up to the hole in the roof, then I'm sure he would have been very happy. But Rangnick is there. Rangnick is ready. He's ready to take charge, and yeah, he just can't take charge. Now, what are you all feeling ahead of tonight, eh? We'll get into a discussion. Of course, the Arms is going to be open later. So you'll join me for our pre-match chat. We're going to react to the team news. I've already done my predicted 11 for the game, and I've told you, I think that there's going to be some changes tonight. I think we're going to see a proper nod to Rangnick football. I think we're going to see a switch to and plus the 4-2-2-2, I think actually suits our team as well. So it's not like we're going to be jumping into a 3-5-2 like we might under Conte. Say this situation was happening under Conte, and all of a sudden we just use 3 at the back and with wing backs, and then Carrick didn't know what to do. Yeah, I think a 4-2-2-2 would suit us. Anyway, so we're going to speak about that later on. We won't get into that in too much detail. Ian, you're watching from Kildare in Ireland. Good morning to you, my friend. Who else we got here? We've got Push Pinder saying, one question, do you work at Eminem as part-time? I am a fantastic rapper. That's all I'll say. Absolutely elite. I'm not. I'm pretty bang average. And that's being polite. But Rangnick's going to be at Old Trafford tonight. So he'll get a welcome. Old Trafford was going to do a special send-off as well for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and the Stretford end. The surfer flag's going to go over, the Ole Legend flag. Maybe that's going to be slightly strange doing that at the same time you're going to welcome a new manager in. But no, look, I disagree with that completely. Solskjaer deserves a send-off he's going to get. And yeah, I'm all for that. But look, if we go over here, right, before I pull this quote up, let's just remember that managers lie, especially when it comes to if they told the truth, it would actually be illegal. Carrick was asked yesterday in the pre-match press conference by a journalist, have you spoken to Ralf? What's going on? He said, no, not spoken to him. It's pretty much as it was when I said there with the games we've already been through. Because of the process and work permit, we haven't been able to. We've carried on. So Michael Carrick there, speaking ahead of the game, saying, nah, man, I've not spoken to him. If I had a little bullshit button, I'd press it. I should get one. Have I got one? Let's have a look. What have I got? Nah. Bullshit. There you go. I made my own one. I made my own one. Look, there's no way that that Carrick hasn't spoken to Rangnick ahead of tonight. Absolutely no way. I don't think that, or of course, Carrick and Rangnick can have a conversation. Because of the work permit, it means that right now it is illegal for Rangnick to work inside the UK. That means speaking to Carrick. That means speaking to anybody inside Manchester United in terms of what could affect the team. But in my opinion, Carrick's definitely been on the phone to Rangnick. They would have definitely had minor conversations to themselves, and they kept it behind closed doors. Of course, they did, because it would be legal otherwise. And I think that the team tonight will be influenced by it. But as you can see by the title of the video, Rangnick needs Carrick to deliver. Because if we take a quick look at the table here, tonight's an important game. I mean, the last couple of games have been important games. Villarreal to top the Champions League group. Chelsea in the Premier League. And we've got 2 good results there. We're now top of the Champions League group. As I said, that game against Young Boys in a few days' time is now a dead rubber. And it's the perfect opportunity for Rangnick just to focus on implementing his system in the few days we've got between Palace and Young Boys, rather than the result. And that's important. That will help the first few days of this system of Rangnick coming into this training ground and implementing his new processes. So well done for Carrick for getting that result. And then Chelsea happened, 1-1. I think it was a fair result on the course of the game. Manchester United, if we didn't have that rash decision by Wan-Bissaka, we could have maybe come away with a 1-0, maybe snatch and grab. But it was kind of a snatch and grab performance. But ultimately, Stamford Bridge is a tough place to go. But looking at this table, right? So obviously there was a couple of results last night. I think Chelsea beat Watford. Liverpool absolutely mullered Everton, who looked down and out, but are only 3 points behind us. This is the table as it stands. Chelsea flying high, but we're not looking anywhere near there. We're just focusing on this at the moment. This season, we are chasing the top 4. We all know that. That's the truth, right? So Manchester United currently now in 10th. I've got to zoom out that far to really get us in here. We're 10th, and we're currently 6 points off 4th. That doesn't change tonight if we lose to Arsenal, because we'd still be 6 points behind West Ham. But if we lose to Arsenal, that means we are 8 points behind Arsenal. That means we are 13 points behind Liverpool. They are running away with it at the top of the table. They really are. 1, 2, 3, 33, 32, and 31. It's massively a 3-horse race now between Chelsea, City, and Liverpool, all looking strong in their own rights. United are nowhere near that. So our season in the league now is all about that top 4 chase. Therefore, a game against Arsenal, who are going to be one of the biggest rivals for this, we have to go and we have to beat them. If we lose tonight, I mean, as I said, if we lose tonight, we're still 6 points off 4th. So it's not a must-win game. technically, it's not a must-win game. It's still early December. So much can change. A 6-point swing can easily happen, as we saw against City all those years ago. An 8-point swing can happen in the last 3 games of the season. So I'm not going to label it as a must-win. But Rangnick needs Carrick to deliver. Deliver that masterclass tonight. Come in, because it'll make his job easier. Make his job far easier. If we win tonight, that means we are 2 points behind Arsenal and we are 3 points behind West Ham in 4th. Much better situation for Rangnick to come in. I'm going to head down to the comments here, read a few of your opinions out. Sing you don't like looking at the table. Well, no one does, but that's the reality, my friend. And that's the reality of Manchester United's season. It's not going to be a Premier League chase at all, right? We all know that by now. Pritam saying, I absolutely hate that press conference. No show of excitement for one of the greatest minds that is coming in. It's because at this moment in time, it's all just kind of like hanging, I don't know, like hanging in the air, isn't it? Sort of like the elephant in the room is like, we've got a new manager. He's already been announced, but he can't speak to the press. He can't take charge of training, and he can't take charge of the team against Arsenal tonight. As I said, it's very, very Manchester United, this whole situation. Mo saying, Sam, do you think Rangnick can manage tactics before his work? No, I don't think he can, Mo. And this is the difference that I'm saying, that Rangnick can't take full charge of this team right now. He can't implement his tactics and his system and everything like that. What he can do is slyly have conversations with Carrick about slight influences, about, okay, I just, think about this, think about that. He'll be like putting little nuggets in Carrick's mind that will definitely influence the way he approaches this game, the way he makes his substitutions, the way he sets his team up. But other than that, Rangnick will be hands off. It will be up to Carrick. And given the fact that we've won 2-0 away against Villa, as I said, Carrick deserves a lot of praise for how he's managed his Manchester United squad in these last couple of games. Look at where we were, after Watford. After Solskjaer was sacked, we were down and out, man. We were down. We were all lost at sea. The squad, everything just looked an absolute shambles. A few days later, we win 2-0 away at Villarreal. Now, you might not say that was the best performance, but it looked like United had a game plan that day. For 60 minutes, we sort of like sat tight, sat deep. And then as soon as 60 minutes came, Bruno and Rashford came on the pitch. Game flipped. Absolutely flipped. United started to dominate aggressively. We played well. The last 30 minutes against Villarreal, very well. We won 2-0 and got a clean sheet. Top the group. Great. Then Chelsea happened. Probably the most informed team in the Premier League. And we took 2 points off them. And, we got played off the park for quite a lot of it, but there was, as much as De Gea made a few decent saves, a lot of Chelsea's threat was I don't know the right way to describe it, but I thought we played quite well against Chelsea, given the circumstances, as I said. So to come away from those 2 games with the win against Villarreal and that draw against Chelsea, Carrick's earned some stripes in these last couple of games. So you're going into this game tonight. We look at Arsenal. Have a quick look at the form table here. So this is Arsenal here. Arsenal right now, if we were to zoom in so you can see it, this is Arsenal's form. 4 wins out of their last 5. In fact, the same form as Man City. That's Arsenal's form. Right now, they are very much an informed team. And once upon a time this season, Arsenal were the laughing stock of the Premier League under Arteta. It's not the case anymore. Absolutely not the case anymore. So what's your feelings ahead of tonight? You keep firing in the comments. I'll try and read more of your comments out here. Alan, you're saying, does that mean Carrick's ideas were rejected by Ole and it's all Ole's fault? No, we can't make that assumption. But all we can do, based on the evidence we've got in front of us here, is that Carrick is capable. I'm not saying he's an incredible coach, all right? And I've said this all along. But I think Carrick, and I think we can expect an upward curve now of Carrick and McKenna as coaches, because they have got somebody proper to learn from. And that was always the issue. It was always the issue. I mean, Carrick's worked under Mourinho before, right? And McKenna's worked under Mourinho before. So they did have a methodology there, somebody who they could learn from. Is Mourinho doesn't strike me as good of a teacher as someone like Rangnick. Mourinho is very much an authoritarian teacher. That teacher that you were kind of shit scared of, that you would do what he asked you to do, but a lot of times out of fear, rather than like respect. And no offense to Mourinho there, but I think he strikes me as somebody they can learn from a lot better than Mourinho. And maybe I'm just seeing the positive side of things. Maybe I'm trying to see a spin, and I probably am, because yeah, in an ideal, like, as I said, when Scholes spoke about how Manchester United's coaching staff were embarrassed and they all should have left the club, I kind of agree with him. But at the time, you can't just like get rid of all your coaching staff. You'd have no coaches in, and we needed coaches in for Villarreal and Chelsea. But I wanted Rangnick to bring more of his own coaching staff in. As it stands, it's not going to be Lars Kornetka. And still, which kind of surprises me, there's no other proper first choice candidate coming into the framework to become Rangnick's assistant, which is a bit weird. Surely that'll be happening right now. No idea. Saeed, there's a comment from you, my friend. How you doing, buddy? Ole should be sacked after Liverpool. Then we would have been in a better place right now. Saeed, mate, you're not wrong there. It's something that I think, you think, we all knew, we all felt after Liverpool. That was the game where I first came out publicly and said, look, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has to leave Manchester United. And then it only got reaffirmed after what happened in between. We had Atalanta that was the worst first half you could possibly expect and one of the best second halves you could possibly expect. And then the City game, you're thinking, mate, what are you doing? What are you waiting for? Why are you waiting? And then we waited. Is what it is. Let me go down here. Let's see what you're all saying in the comments. Carrick himself has said the tactics are pretty much the same as Ole. Yeah, I don't think that much has changed, but something that has changed, you saw it against Chelsea. There's a bit of a collective effort. A bit of a collective might be the wrong word. There was just a bit more effort. And you kind of sound like an idiot when you harp on about it too much. Oh, passion and running and desire, X, Y, Z. But you need it. It's the utter basics of football, and they should just happen without you needing to speak about it, without you needing to point out the fact the players aren't running. And the fact that you have to do it sometimes is a problem. And when United now, under Rangnick, we see 4, 5, 6 games time, we've just got this natural work ethic that's coming in. And it will just be like, you won't think about it anymore. You won't be like, oh, wow, look how much they're running around. It will just be, that's what you expect, because it is what you expect. Football nowadays, I was reading it this morning. There was a really fantastic, let me see if I can pull it up whilst we're on this chat together. There was a fantastic long read on the coach's voice from, I think it was 3-4 years ago on Rangnick, where he was explaining quite a lot to do with his philosophy. My Epiphany, it was called. There you go. Let me pull this one up. Don't say I don't treat you well. Oh, my God. Right. So this long read, let me see if I can get the exact point that I was talking about. It was basically Rangnick explaining how it was Dynamo Kiev's former manager when he was, where was he? When he was a player manager at FC Victoria Backnang outside Stuttgart in 1983 is when he understood that the pressing game was so important. And this point here about me speaking about players, about that sort of work ethic and why it's necessary. Let me bring this bit up here. And this is, for me, is exactly why he needs new coaching staff at Manchester United, right? Let me see if I can get this up. How about a bit 60 now. And fire in your comments, by the way, whilst I'm trying to find this. I didn't think I was going to speak about this here. Maybe I won't. It's too big. It's too long. I can't find it. Never mind. Oh, there you go. That's it there. Haha. Don't say I can't do things. Multitasking, that is. Here you go. So this is Ralf Rangnick. To quickly say it before I speak about it. This is Ralf Rangnick explaining how his time as a football coach, he's seen how the game has developed, how the game has changed. And he's basically explaining how the emphasis on preciseness in training is now so crucial. It used to just be you go on the coaching, you go coach, you go into training ground, you train football, and then you go into the match. But now it's completely different, and this is why he needs more coaching staff at Manchester United. 5 years. There you go. The most exciting thing for me is to see how the transition game has developed and accelerated. There's so much happening in the 8 to 10 seconds after the ball is won or lost. Those moments decide games, and a large part of our training is dedicated to what we call swarming behavior, the synchronized movement of players. 5 years ago, I would have thought it impossible that an athletics coach would tell me how many meters my team should run today and how fast in training. But that's what's happening. In the past, you'd have to trust your own eyes, your gut feeling as a manager to find the right dosage in training. Now it's a bit like picking up a rental car. They will tell you how much is in the tank and what your mileage is. The athletics coaches are in charge of planning the whole week of training in terms of intensity on any given day. We take our cues from them. That bit there is exactly why he right now does not have the coaching staff that he needs at Manchester United. There is not one person that he could rely on to be that athletic coach, to be that person who takes charge and plans the entire week of training down to the meticulous detail that Ralf Rangnick will need. And that is why it's so important that this coaching staff come, whoever it is, and it has to be a minimum of one assistant and a minimum of one coach. And maybe an assistant will probably be the coach. So you could probably put them both down as coaches. But I think it's 2 people he needs at an absolute minimum, because there's no way that he can trust Kieran McKenna or Michael Carrick or Darren Fletcher to be that athletic coach and to be in charge with the whole week of training, planning it all out, because it's going to be meticulous. It's going to be a proper system, and I'm excited for it. I'm dead excited for it. I really, really am. Look, Mans, you're right. This is a worry. We need coaches. We do need coaches. And I'll be honest, I'm slightly worried at the lack of news, lack of updates, lack of conversation around it. We're all speaking about Ralf Rangnick's visa. Where is it? Where's his work visa? Cool. You get him in, but who's his assistant? Who's his coaches he's coming with him? Because the setup of Martin Pert, Mike Phelan, Kieran McKenna, and Michael Carrick and Darren Fletcher aren't going to be enough for him to be able to implement his system. His system is so intense, so in depth, that it's impossible for one man to manage and implement. And certainly mid-season as well. It complicates it. If this was, I don't know, this was halfway through June and Rangnick had come in and he had like 6, 7, 8 weeks to really implement his system slowly and develop it inside Manchester United. So when the players came back in, it was like, okay, this is fresh, this is new, cool. Instead, it's been, the house has blown up. Everyone evacuated the house just in time. And there's a new house next door, and that's Rangnick's house. And everyone's now got to go in there, find the new beds, find the new setup. Oh, where's the stuff in the kitchen cupboards? You're opening all the wrong cupboards. That's what it's like. That's what Manchester United's training will be like this week. No one will have any idea what's going on. And that's why I would probably say don't have too many expectations straight away. The severity of the changes between these systems are so big that I think United will take a little bit of getting used to it. Konath? I'm going to call you Konath. Jesus, the way you go on about him, he is almost a descent of God. Yeah, mate, when you've had what Manchester United have had in the last few years, to come from that, what felt like a system in training that was effectively a bit Sunday league. Everyone turns up, everyone gives each other high fives, has a little orange at halftime, pass it over here. It didn't really feel like we were basing our football on any sort of system. It's why the identity never truly came through. From week to week, Manchester United would play a different style of football depending on whether or not the players were in a good mood or a bad mood, depending on whether or not they had a takeaway on Saturday night or not. As I said, we had that Sunday league vibe to us. That will now completely change, and we'll have a system, and we're just going to get drilled into that system. And that's why I'm excited about it. It's not that I've seen it as a descent from God, but it's just a massive, massive switch from where we were to where we're coming from now. Let's go down here. I'll read a few of your comments out here before we then move on to what Carrick said in his pre-match press conference. Got updates on the injuries to Cavani, Varane, and Pogba. And Carrick loves Fred, by the way. Not sure if you knew that. Let me go down here and see what you're saying. Anything then less than a treble is a failure. Yeah, you're right there. Timmy, you're saying Carrick and McKenna should be ashamed of themselves because they're United people. They failed big time. But Carrick kept using Ole's delusional slogan, "We are improving." Coaches say, I don't know, coaches and media trained in the same way that players are, and they're a bit square. That's why Mourinho was a bit refreshing. Then he kind of went a bit too far. Let's go down here. Do I think the Glazers are bringing in Rangnick to turn United into an English club that buys young players and sells them for double, the same he did with Leipzig? Hell, and I don't hope he does that, but I hope he identifies talent in the same way that he did at Leipzig, and I don't see that as a negative absolutely not a negative whatsoever. Sending them on for double the price rather than keeping them at the club, that's a different conversation. But that definitely is an aspect of what makes Rangnick a good overall coach. But if we're looking at the updates on Cavani, on Varane, on Pogba, Carrick said that Cavani's back on the grass. He's working outside with the strength and conditioning guys. Pogba and why is it that football managers can't just call their players by their names? Rafa. It's not. It's Raphael. It's Varane. Why is it that they've always got to have nicknames? Always cracks me up that. But yeah, Paul Pogba, I've said previously that I didn't think he'd have any chance under this Rangnick system. I might have been wrong in that because we took a look yesterday, didn't we? We looked at all the pressures of Manchester United players per 90. Pogba was actually second behind Fred. Now, I didn't know whether that was sort of like a skewed stat. Kind of took me away. He was above Bruno Fernandes, and I think that was a lie. But yeah, that's the latest on those. So Cavani will be back soon, and he's the man that will thrive inside this pressing system, as we all know, Fred. And this is what Carrick said about Fred. He said, Fred's first choice in a good Brazilian team. That shows how far he's come. One of the biggest things is the desire to be a key player. That mentality is infectious. He's played a little bit higher up the pitch than before because we tweaked a couple of things. And if you remember the interview that we had here with Fred on United People's TV, that's something that he explained as well. It's something he said, look, my favourite position is higher up the pitch, more as a box-to-box player. But because of the Premier League and the demands and the quality that Manchester United have going forward, he was forced to play a little bit deeper. Now, I compared it to Anderson. When we signed Anderson back in, was it 2007? 8? Round about then. We signed Anderson and Nani, I think Hargreaves. I think it was 2007. Anderson was an attacking midfielder, and we brought him in, and he ended up playing more as a central midfielder. He ended up dropping deeper and deeper, and we all know about Anderson, the player who could have been such an incredible player, but injuries. I thought we were doing a very similar thing with Fred. We brought him from Shakhtar Donetsk as an attacking midfielder. We turned him into a central midfielder, somebody who then dropped a little bit deeper and deeper and deeper. And it wasn't his natural game. He would do it because he's a soldier type player. If you give him a job, he'll go out and do it. 100% effort, not always the best thing, but that's what Fred did, and that's why he's respected by the coaches because they can see that sort of work rate. And if that work rate was infectious of Fred or Bruno Fernandes, maybe we wouldn't be in the same problem that we're in right now. But Fred will shine inside this Rangnick system. And someone like Haidara, if you didn't see the full story video, I did that yesterday, looked at all the Haidara rumors and reports and where they came from. But importantly, I took a look at his stats and I saw how he could fit inside this Rangnick system. I'm really looking forward to doing a few more videos on Rangnick. I want to do a really detailed one on the gegenpressing system. Look at the foundations it's built on and how it gets implemented. What are the training structures and the methodology behind it? It's going to be a bit more of an in-depth video, so I'm not sure when it will come out. But I'm planning. I'll do some research today because the game's not until later on, so I've got a bit of time. And if there's any more or any other sort of Rangnick videos you'd like me to do, hit me up on Twitter @SamPeoples_. I'm always open to ideas. What's your predictions of tonight, by the way? You fire them in the comments. I'll read a few of them out. I'll keep mine till later in the arms, as I always do. But what else did Carrick say in the press conference? He was asked about Ronaldo, dropping Ronaldo against Chelsea. Is that a big deal? He said, Carrick, we didn't say Carrick. I think those types of decisions, dropping Ronaldo, get blown up geez, why can't people just tweet properly? I think those types of decisions get blown up than they are when you get more blown up. Jesus, this is ridiculous. I think those types of decisions get more blown up than they are when you're inside of the team and the club. Decisions are made for lots of different reasons. Certain ones get bigger news than others. I didn't personally think it was that significant a decision to. Cristiano Ronaldo is 36 years old. He will not start every game for Manchester United. The counter argument there, of course, is saying, Sam, yeah, all right, we'll rest him against West Brom or something, or Norwich. Don't rest him at Chelsea away. And that kind of understood. But yeah, we implemented a false 9 system that Ronaldo wouldn't have suited in there. And that's why he was left on the floor. Lisa, you think it's going to be 3-2 United. Nicholas, you think 3-0. Turbo, you're going full out for the 8-2. Kwame, you're saying 2-0. Stubacker, you're 3-1. Vaishnav, you're saying 3-0. Mike, you're saying 3-0. Anaj, you're feeling drunk this morning with an 8-0. 2-1. 2-2. I reckon there's goals tonight. I mean, if you're looking at probably the informed players of both teams, it's probably Aaron Ramsdale and David De Gea. Probably. Ramsdale is somebody who's kind of taken us all by surprise. We thought it was a joke when Arsenal spent, 30 million on signing him. Ended up being a class signing so far. So fair play to him. But yeah, let me know. Keep firing in your comments and your opinions and everything that's going on. But I want to quickly skip on some quite important news that's happened in two things. Number one, the Glazers, they're spending money elsewhere. They've actually bought a T20 team out in UAE. You'll remember that they tried to buy one of the Indian Premier League cricket league. They were launching 2 new franchises. The Glazers went forward to try and buy one. They got outpriced. They actually put in the lowest bid there out of the 9 bids. So Lancer Capital must be the overall group that the Glazers work under, where the likes of Tampa Bay Buccaneers and now this team from UAE will go into. But the Glazers are spreading their cash around. And as I've said, I don't think any of this can ever be seen in a bad eye. I think this is a good thing because the more distracted the Glazers are away from Manchester United, the better it is for Manchester United. And the fact that they're trying to diversify their portfolio, and that means sort of like instead of having all your money in one stock, instead of having all your money in one company, you've got like 4 or 5 companies or 4 or 5 stocks and you put money between them because you're not sure whether one will work out or not. And for me, I would see that as a good thing, right? That they're moving away from total focus on Manchester United and total focus on the Buccaneers out in Tampa Bay, and they're signing a cricket team. Or maybe they're going to be just as greedy with all of them. And maybe I'm just foolish to think that. And that might also be the case. But they've bought a T20 team. And the reason I'm mentioning that now is because something happened yesterday, which is quite a significant. Is it significant? We don't know yet, but it's significant-ish. And it's certainly significant enough to talk about. Manchester United yesterday launched the Fans Advisory Board. Now, what is this? This is something that we were promised as fans after the European Super League collapse, right? It was the way of Manchester United fans getting a direct line of communication with the owners on a consistent and regular basis. That's what this Fan Advisory Board is supposed to do. It's got 7 fan representatives from a range of backgrounds have been appointed to the board on a voluntary basis. It's going to be co-chaired by Christopher Sard, an experienced barrister and lifelong United fan, and Richard Arnold, who by the time the 1st of January comes around, will replace Ed Woodward. Now, who else is on the board? This is where we go down here and we see who the members are. And there you go. It's just down here. I'll read it all out for you. 2 members of the Fans Forum, Ian Sterling and Richard McGar, I think so, have been elected by fellow Forum members to join the FAB. Also in the FAB will be Jonathan Deitch and Duncan Drasdo, Chair and Chief of MUST, Manchester United Supporters Trust. The other 2 fan places will be taken by Deborah Henry, Chair of the Manchester United Women's Supporters Club, and Ollie Winson, who, if you don't know, he's always the guy to go to when you're going to Europe. He's like just a communications guy. Very, very good. If you ever go into like a United away game in Europe, he's always the person you go to ask about information about, I don't know, ticket pickups or vaccinations at the moment or arrivals. He'd be the man to sort of communicate with fans. So he's probably the closest connection fans have on that board is Ollie Winton. Well, what's your reaction to this? Do you think that this fan advisory board will change anything at all? Do you think it's just something that's being created by Manchester United to sort of appease fans? Sort of like, I'll just give them that. We know it won't actually change anything, but just give them that. That might quieten them down. You let me know what you think about that in the comments. I've just got a whole judgment. This is something that we were promised as fans was going to be in place by the start of the season. It's now the 2nd of December, and it's only just come out. So it took an extra 3-4 months for it to come out. We need to see if it has any real ability for Manchester United to influence the decisions of what's going on. Because the reason it was set up is so that something like the Super League can't happen again, right? So that behind our backs, the club can just go and try and take us somewhere completely else because they'll get money. It's supposed to stop that, but let's see what goes on. Anthony, you're saying it's just a smokescreen. Mick, you're saying you don't think much will care and much will come of it. And Victor, you're saying no one cares about this. Well, mate, if you don't care about this, then you do not give a shit about Manchester United. Simple as that. This is significant. these sorts of things are the most important things that everybody should want to talk about. And I will always talk about on United People's TV. You know how vocal I am in my approach to the Glazers. But yeah, as it said, look, I just wanted to bring that announcement to you because it happened yesterday. And what I want to speak about now is something that is a bit weird. It's a bit odd. We're getting linked with Timo Werner. Now, I know this is definitely going to get some comments. From Germany, Ralf Rangnick wants to discuss a potential deal to sign Chelsea's Timo Werner next season. What's your opinion on that? I think I might know what your opinions are, but was it under Rangnick? Or I don't know who was Leipzig manager at the time. I think he was. Of course he was. He's right there holding his hand while he's wearing a Leipzig shirt. Timo Werner was an absolute superstar at Leipzig. And it really looked, when Chelsea signed him, their team looked absolutely unstoppable. And then Timo Werner's been, I think it's polite to say, a flop. He's just been nowhere near the same sort of levels that he showed at Leipzig. But Rangnick, I said this is coming from Germany, and I said it when I saw the Haidara rumors. I'll say it now when I see the Timo Werner rumors. It's going to be slightly lazy journalism to simply just link Rangnick to signing all these former Leipzig players. But at the same time, they're probably right. Because if Rangnick is going to make a signing in January, it probably will be a former Leipzig or it'll be somebody who has a link to Rangnick from the past. Because that's what he needs to bring in. And that's why Haidara makes perfect sense, because you can see Haidara becoming his general on the pitch. That's what I call it. If an assistant is going to be the person who reaffirms his ideas in terms of coaching, Haidara or whoever that signing is going to be the person that really doubles down on that system on the pitch and sort of keeps the players motivated there. But let me see what you think about Werner and whether or not you'd like Manchester United to make a move for him. Werner is Vardy, just not working at Chelsea. Okay. No thanks, says Ed Smith. Greenwood all the way. Diogo, no way in hell. Can't afford having 100 chances thrown away every match. At least you'd say, I hope he does. Okay. Timo Werner, nope. Yes. Type yes or no then. In the comments right now, I'll try and gauge the opinion. Type yes if you want Werner, or no if you don't want Werner. And Joey, you're saying we're going for Haaland in the summer. Mate, as much as I would love Haaland, and I from the bottom of my heart, I would love Haaland. My word. Anybody that signs him, you've got guaranteed 30 goals immediately every single season he's in. But Haaland is going to cost he's only going to cost 75 million because of his release clause. But if you add on I imagine Miraola is going to want 20, 30, 40 million for the fees. I imagine his wages are going to be in excess of $500,000 a week. I imagine he's going to have bonuses. And he's going to blow every single wage structure in football out of the water, really. Unless he goes to Real Madrid, where it would be suitable. I think even at Man City, he might be a bit weird. But Haaland, man, he's expensive. But let me go down here and see what you're thinking about Timo Werner. Right. Nope. Let's have a look. Nope. Yes. No. Dale, don't sit on the fence there, my friend. T, don't sit on the fence there, my friend. The majority of you, I would say 80-20. 80-20 down here are all saying no, but some of you are saying yes, that you would like him. Anthony, you're saying no. Ahmed, no. Big no, says Takeoff. Hey, look. Personally, my immediate reaction would be no. I don't want Timo. I don't want somebody who's come to the Premier League with huge expectations, who has flopped inside the Premier League, and coming to Manchester United thinking, let's hope it works out. I don't want that sort of signing for Manchester United. I don't think that's the sort of signing that really is going to accelerate and take us forward. I want somebody to come into the club who's been nailing it somewhere else, say like Haidara at Leipzig, and say, right, I can see that talent. Let's bring you in. Clean slate. I don't really want the preconceptions that would come with Timo Werner and the pressures. Hell, he might shine, right? But if we're looking at a position on the pitch where we're not struggling, it's with options up front. We've got Jadon Sancho. We've got Marcus Rashford. We've got Edinson Cavani. We've got Ronaldo. We've got Martial. We've got Greenwood. Look, in the summer, clearly we're going to have to do something because Cavani's going to leave. And I personally think that Martial will be sold as well. So that's two strikers I think we're going to have to replace in the summer. My own opinion, but definitely Cavani's leaving. We know that. But Timo Werner, I think I agree. The majority of you, no to that. We'll definitely have a debate and a conversation. Now, we saw yesterday actually was random reports coming out from Germany that Rangnick's going to get a bonus if he can help bring Haaland to United, because I believe he was semi-involved in the process of Haaland going to Salzburg from Molde. So he has some sort of link to Erling Haaland as well. But of course, he's not going to be our manager from next season onwards. He's just going to be the person above. But again, that's why someone like Rangnick in a position of power at our club, he can just at that point, that's something so exciting to think about, really, for the next few seasons, is when he moves up to that consultancy role. And in my gut instinct, that will become more formalized into a sporting director role. But that's just not happening right now. That's what my gut is telling me. But that's going to be perfect, because it means that Rangnick can, for the next, after the 6 months goes, and whoever comes in, Pochettino or Ten Hag, I think it's one of those two. When that happens and he's our sporting director or consultant or whatever the role is called, he can just focus on anything not to do with the football. So he can focus on bringing in players, on bringing in the best of European youngsters to Manchester United, on bolstering our academy with really top-level signings. I'm saying that we've made some cracking signings into our academy in the last few years. But that's when you're really going to get the consultancy role of Rangnick and get it shining. And that's when the links and the contacts are all going to come into fruition and really benefit Manchester United. So I'm going to really, really enjoy that part when it happens. Nathan, for so long we've done the transfer research at United. It'll be good to finally have faith in the manager to do this. Absolutely. And even when he moves upstairs, he'll do that too. Hey, look, before we finish and we wrap up today, I'll give it 5 minutes now. You fire in your questions. Anything that I haven't spoken about or anything you want more information on or my opinion on, fire it into the comments now. Ralf Angel, that's what we might call him. Old Ralphie Angel up there. The Christmas tree, the tinsel on Ronaldo. Little Grinchy there, 23 days to Christmas. I haven't put my Christmas decorations up yesterday. I swear on my life. I think it's the first time I've ever done that on the 1st of December. Don't know. Feeling festive this year. Why not? Sanjay, with the question that everybody wants answered, when will Rangnick take charge of the dugout? Well, what I think happened yesterday, my friend, is he was in Old Trafford, and what Rangnick has actually done is he's hidden in the dugout. So last night, Rangnick slept in Old Trafford behind the seats, and he's actually going to pop up just before the start of the game. That's what my sources have been telling me. So expect to see Rangnick at some point in the few minutes before kickoff. He's going to pop his head up from the dugout, and he's going to be wearing a mask as well, so you won't know it's him. But no, sod knows. In reality, the earliest we can hope for is Crystal Palace, and I hope it happens for Crystal Palace. But even if it's not, then we've got Young Boys. But it has to. The more days he has before that Young Boys game, the more chance we have of actually seeing the implementation of his system. Because if he, I don't know, say he only comes in on a Monday, again, it's only a couple of days before the game. Let me go down here. Sam, what's your thoughts on the Jamie and the Roy Keane Ronaldo issue? I thought it's a sort of debate where both of them were right. Roy Keane is right. He's like, you don't rest players like Ronaldo for Chelsea away. And in the other sense, Carragher was arguing and saying, look, he's 36, man. Like, you can't play. They both were correct and coming from different angles. And that's why it was such an interesting debate. Because, as I said, they were both correct in their own ways. In my opinion, I don't think it was that big an issue to rest Ronaldo for that game, because he wouldn't have operated inside that system. But in the same sense, Bruno was reckless. So did it really benefit Manchester United that much, having Bruno playing as a false nine there instead of Ronaldo just staying up top on his own? I don't know. All right. I don't know. Let me go down here. Ian, what's my prediction? Make sure you join the arms later on for my prediction. I'll give that. Is there any rumor that Scott is going to leave? There's no rumors. And Nick, I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I think that Scott's going to stay as an important squad player for Manchester United. And as long as he stays as a squad player, I think he's fine. The comment there just caught my eye from Lee talking about how Manchester United used to create their own superstars. And yeah, I've always maintained it. They've always been my favourite signings. Obviously, Rooney and Ronaldo are your two standout examples. But from Nemanja Vidic to Patrice Evra, who else did we have? Nani, you could probably put in that as well. There are so many players that United have signed over the years that clearly have like great talent, but they develop into stars using Old Trafford as their canvas. And for me, they're the most satisfying signings to watch grow, rather than someone who comes in. Van Persie, a bit of an exception to the rule. Someone who comes in as a ready-made superstar and blows it away, nails it in the first season. That kind of rarely happens at United. Then there are a lot of examples of United spending big and the player not delivering. Van Persie, as I said, is the greatest example of the anomaly, the person who really does deliver. Because that season when he joined from Arsenal, wow. Anna, you're asking, is the arms going to be members only? No, it's not for today. It's just something I'm thinking about doing, but I'm not sure. We'll see. But look, thank you all very much for joining in this morning. I haven't mentioned anything about memberships. Look, if you want to join, hit that join button. Remember, you get entered into the Ronaldo shirt draw every single day. Every single day? My God, that's a lot of That's a lot of Ronaldo shirts. Every single week. Been doing it now for about 5-6 weeks, giving away a lot of shirts. Got more to give away as well. All you got to do is hit the join button on YouTube or Facebook. If you're on Facebook, hit the support now button. There's links in the descriptions of both. You get entered into the weekly draw for that. I've got more stuff coming. We've got some Christmas giveaways happening over December. You want to be a member here on United People's TV or a subscriber at the very least. So if you're new, welcome to United People's TV. Hit that subscribe button. I'll be here later on with the arms. So I'll probably open the arms at about 7:15, there or thereabouts. So you can join me later on. Big game tonight. Rangnick won't be in the dugout. He should be in Old Trafford. And we need to see a Carrick masterclass. We need that win tonight to make sure that we head into the Rangnick era with momentum. Thank you all very much for joining me this morning. I'll see you in the next one.